So yesterday I got a notification from CNBC, and it's a quite interesting broadcast speaking about the second wave that is to be expected of the coronavirus or COVID-19. I want to play this particular news broadcast, and I'm going to give my reaction. I'm going to give my commentary. I'm going to give my astute observations, and I'm going to give my opinion. All right? Listen up.
Welcome back to Squawk Box, everybody. There is concern of a potential second COVID wave across the globe. Earlier this week, China reported its highest number of daily cases since April. Hong Kong announced new restrictions amid a rise in infections.
Wait, what? Are you telling me this virus is starting a second wave in the place it started? Or in real close proximity of the place it started? Is this virus going on a world tour? What are the chances of this? I mean, the chances of this happening is absolutely astronomical, impossible, if you will. I mean, this virus is going on a world. I'm on a one-way tour with my man, going each and every place with the mic in my hand. East Coast, West Coast, worldwide. It's going worldwide. Now, I would have tried to digest this information if, let's say, the virus went to some minute location that was not hit yet, especially it being, in the midst of summertime. Maybe a place that's less fortunate, a place that has less medical supplies and provisions put in place. Maybe I could believe that it hit somewhere like that, but for it to start back off all over again in Hong Kong, Japan, France, Spain, China, all of a sudden it's beginning to be an influx in those areas. That is absolutely astonishing, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
Japan reported a new daily record this week, and numbers in Spain and France are increasing. Also, the UK's health minister said further quarantine measures may be imposed amid fears of a second wave in Europe. Joining us right now to talk about this and much more is Dr. Scott Gottlieb. He is former FDA commissioner and now a CNBC contributor. He's on the boards of Pfizer and
Wow, so he went from working at the FDA to working in news? Wow, that's an interesting transition, if you ask me. Let's replay that for a moment.
He's on the boards of Pfizer and Illumina. And Dr. Gottlieb, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. You and I were texting back and forth on the boards of Pfizer and Illumina. He's former FDA commissioner and now a CNBC contributor. He's on the boards of Pfizer.
He went from FDA commissioner to CNBC contributor. Since when do you not have to go to school and get a degree in journalism? Since when have doctors are just automatically, I would say, apt to give us the news? All right, let's go.
Pfizer and Illumina. And Dr. Gottlieb, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. You and I were texting back and forth earlier this week, and I know you've tweeted a little bit about this. We're seeing a rise in...
That shows you where the world is going. Anytime a medical physician can become a news broadcaster. It shows you what they're going to continue to push and how they're going to continue to shove this stuff down our throats. How it's all going to be about pharmaceutics and the pharma, big pharma. It's all about health.
In places in Asia and Europe, but you think that there's a real risk that there's going to be a decoupling between the United States and the rest of the globe. Do you want to explain that theory?
Well, we're seeing it right now. If you're an American, you really can't travel to too many places around the world. The United States is one of only a handful of countries where large countries where the travel into Europe and Asia is fully restricted to American consumers right now. It's hard. You can't go to Europe. You can't go to China right now if you're an American. And I think when you look at these other countries, what you're seeing right now are some outbreaks in some of these regions. Some of these countries are having isolated outbreaks. It remains to be seen whether or not they're going to be able to control that. They're taking pretty aggressive action, and there is some presumption that they will be able to control these outbreaks, that they're not going to have very dense epidemics heading into the fall and the winter, because they got the virus down to very low levels, and now they have the the means in place with testing, with tracking and tracing to try to keep the infection at bay. Now
that's what it's about. Tracking and tracing to keep you at bay. To keep you under surveillance. That's what it's all about. And they're showing us right now that's what it's all about.
Remains to be seen. But if they can't do it, it's going to be very hard, for example, for states in the United States that have gotten virus down to very low levels to similarly try to keep the virus there and not have very large epidemics heading into the fall. But I do think right now, when you look around the world, you are seeing the United States get decoupled from other countries in terms of our experience. And that could ultimately translate into lost opportunities for Americans relative to the rest of the world.
Lost opportunities like what?
Well, slower GDP growth, the risk that we tip back into a recession when the rest of the world's growing.
I said this once and I'll say it again. America is purposely collapsing its economy. It's imploding from the inside out. This country is becoming a third world country. While other countries are going to begin to flourish and grow and bounce back, America is going to go into even more of a deep recession. All right? It's straight up.
Inability of the bulk of our students to go back to in-class learning for the whole fall and winter. Lost business opportunities because we can't travel abroad while Europeans are allowing travel within Europe and Asia is allowing travel within Asia. So, the United States is being isolated from the rest of the world right now. There's basically a cordon that's been put around the United States for most countries that we would normally be engaging with much more closely. I think
there's a lot of business that's falling. Trust and believe. I've seen it because I've had business internationally, and you trust and believe. This whole thing is affecting the economy because, listen, everything that America has is from somewhere else. I like to really simplify this. A lot of people believe that we're dwelling in the most powerful country known to man. You're talking about a country that owes billions, if not trillions of dollars to other countries. You're talking about a country that barely has any type of facilities to build. You're talking about the warehouses are being taken away. Nothing is made in-house. America outsources everything. And now you can't do business overseas.
Really haven't paid a lot of attention to that for now because there's not a lot of places we want to go. But as things evolve, and if the rest of the world is able to keep this at bay and they just contend with outbreaks, but they don't really have dense epidemics, and they're able to get back to more of their normal way of life, I think the disparity is going to look sharper because I don't think that we're going to be able to crush this epidemic heading into the fall and winter. I think a best case scenario right now is we have sort of a rotating series of regional outbreaks and maybe epidemics that we're able to largely get under control, but they're going to start to burn through the country heading into the fall and the winter.
Wow. Absolutely astonishing. What are we preparing for? That's the question. Coronavirus, COVID-19, it's traveling real strange out here in these streets. It's literally going around the world. This just spells New World Order to me. We got to talk more about this. Shalom, Israel. It's your boy New Breed coming through with another video. In this particular video, I want to speak about preparation in regards to this second wave of COVID-19 or coronavirus. Isn't it interesting how that term became interchangeable? It's like they pulled the wool over our eyes. And they made COVID-19 and coronavirus mean the exact same thing. On the contrary, COVID-19 is a military operation. Coronavirus is a virus that they created and patented in a laboratory. It is a strand of the flu that they altered and manipulated. All right? Whereas though on the other hand, you have this operation that's designed to get the general public acclimated to accept certain societal changes. And people have accepted a lot of societal changes, if you ask me. There's no such thing as normal no more. You got the new normal, all right? Everything has changed. And they're willing to go through drastic measures in implementing these changes. And this is the reason why I call it tyrannical and militant. Because you got contact tracing with Google and Apple able to divulge your medical information to law enforcement. Yes, do your research, ladies and gentlemen. They can give your medical information to law enforcement. Now, why would that be necessary unless they are willing to take drastic measures? All right. It's a prime example of public safety versus personal privacy and freedom, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. Now, when it comes to this coronavirus and preparing for the second wave, you got to know what you're preparing for first and foremost. We got to prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually, but we got to know what it is we're preparing for. Now, you also got to look at the time frame of how coronavirus was rolled out. And yes, I said rolled out because it was introduced to the general public in masses, you know, at a certain point of time. But trust and believe that it was already out there. There was already an agenda. If you look at some of these movies and look at some of the predictive programming that was put in place, you'll see that. Now, when it was introduced, you had 5G being rolled out, right? That was the system needed to utilize contact tracing and surveillance. And there was a lot of changes that was going on. See, 5G was not rolled out to scramble your brain. It was not rolled out to turn your brain into fried eggs. No. Although, if you live near one of these towers, it can be damaging on a molecular level. All right, that's a fact. But the reason it was rolled out is to put the hub in place needed to surveil. Now you have a surveillance state. And we tend to ignore all of the cameras that's located, but there's a lot more cameras, ladies and gentlemen. While we were being placed on lockdown or house arrest, there were a lot more cameras implemented. I can see them. I'm spotting them every day. I'm watching. But they also implemented a new program. The reason why you have to stand 6 feet apart and wear a mask is because they're operating a new facial recognition program. All right? They need you to be set apart. They need to be able to scan in and be able to watch you. And the reason why you're wearing a mask is because they got this new digital technology, facial recognition, that can actually read your facial expressions. It can actually see you through the mask, and they're testing it. So it's a beta test put in place. So when you think of social distancing, what should come to your mind is actually divide and conquer. All right? It should be actually divide and conquer, because that's what's happening. Now, we got to talk about how we're going to prepare this winter. Number one, on a physical level, you got to get plenty of vitamin C. Plenty of vitamin C. Because flu season is coming. All right? And you don't want to be caught sick out here. There are people out here who are literal snitches. People are going to be turning in their families this winter because somebody got some congestion or got a fever. People are going to be operating fear to that level where they're going to be turning in their family. And you don't want to be sick around nobody. So you want to avoid the flu at all costs this winter. You want to avoid the flu at all costs. Listen, the rule of thumb is to eat something alive every day. Fruits and vegetables. Eat it every day. Get you some lemons. Get you some grapefruits. Get you some oranges. Eat these things. Build your immune system up. Build it up. I'm talking about eat right. That's the rule of thumb. Eat something alive every day. Get you some soups. Get you some ginger. Get you some celery. Build your system up. All right, that's number one. That's on the physical level. But mentally, you got to prepare as well. You got to prepare mentally. Because this COVID-19, along with the media, is a psychological warfare against you. All right? Now, when it comes down to it, they're showing you what they're doing. But you got to prepare for it. They're telling you. You should find it ironic that they even predicted a second wave. because this is a progress that they're incrementally rolling out on the general public. And let me say that before I speak about the mental status that you must have. Ladies and gentlemen, store up. Get you a deep freezer. Start buying non-perishable items. Buy X amount of non-perishable items. Get you some beef jerky, y'all. Get flash freeze food. Food that's in vacuum sealed bags. Dried out fruit, dried out vegetables. Start to grab these things in massive amounts. Not because, listen carefully. Not because there's going to be no food, although there will be more of a food shortage this time than it was last. But because you do not want to be out in the general public like that. You do not want to frequent anywhere on a regular basis. All right? Because number one, it's flu season. You don't want to be nowhere near no germs. You don't want to be nowhere near any people who, are displaying symptoms of anything. All right? You want to stay in the house as much as possible. And also this system that they rolling out with the cameras and the checking your temperature, you don't want to be caught up nowhere on nobody's camera frequently. All right? And also, if you have to leave, you may want to leave your cell phone at home. If you live right down the street from the supermarket, leave it at home. If you go into a friend's house right down the street, leave your cell phone at home. Or get you one of those bags that they sell online. It's like a bag that you can put your phone in that they can't read the signal. They can't trace your phone. Get you one of those. Invest in one of those, all right? Because there's going to be a lot more hot spots. Oh, man. They're going to roll it out with the hot spots this winter. It's going to be a cold winter, and you got to prepare for this. Now, on a mental level, listen. Don't believe anything they say. All parameters of knowledge must be weighed through the Holy Bible. All right? All parameters of knowledge must be weighed through concrete evidence and facts. Don't get caught up in numbers and what they expect to happen. Don't get fearful. It's mind over matter. The law of attraction is very real. If you telling yourself, man, I'm getting some symptoms, I can't really taste food like that. I'm not really feeling good, man. Maybe I got this or I got that. You're speaking that into existence. You're speaking that on yourself. The Bible says, so a man thinketh, a man be. So what you thinking is going to control what happens to you physically. So first of all, get your mind right. Get out of the spirit of fear. Learn when to turn the TV off. Do what you got to do. Now, we already talked about physically and mentally. Now, on a spiritual level, right? On a spiritual level, you got to stay prayed up. You really got to unplug from the carnal world. Tap into the Most High God. Spend some time praying. And I'm going to say this. When this whole virus first hit, it should have been a wake-up call for a lot of us. Anytime you see food shortages, anytime you see the economy collapsing right before your eyes, anytime you got the government telling you to stay in your home against your personal freedoms, then the only place you can turn to is a higher power. Now, forget all of these esoteric, spiritual teachers and leaders and soothsayers. Listen, it's only one God, one truth, and one light. And he's the only one that's going to get us out of this. Stop following man's laws and plug into God's laws. All right? Now, you got 3 set of laws that you're supposed to live by according to God. You got dietary laws, you got civil or moral laws, and you got ceremonial laws. I advise you to study to show yourself approved to find out what those laws are, because those are the parameters in which we will be judged as people. All right? So, and this message is basically, be prepared for what the world is bringing you. All right? Be prepared. Keep your mind sharp and focused. Know what's going on in the world. Stay in tune, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to make this quick video. I know that we're in the midst of the summer right now, but you know, it's never too early to start preparing, to start buying excess amount of food, to start building your immune system up, to start doing the things that you know you're going to have to do for this winter. It's inevitable, people. I'm just here to be a reminder. Hopefully this video helped you on your walk and your journey. If it did, mash the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you for watching. With that being said, shalom and peace.